Well, local impacts are already being felt in the wake of major policy changes around immigration. Here to talk about it is Catholic Charities Jacksonville CEO, Anita Hassell. Good morning, Anita.
Good morning.
We're also joined on the line by Abdul Mohammadi, a father of four who arrived in Jacksonville from Afghanistan in November. Good morning, Abdul.
Good morning, ma'am, and all to you.
Abdul, your family arrived in the United States on a special immigrant visa because you were an ally of U.S. troops that were serving in Afghanistan. Can you describe some of the challenges that you faced on that journey?
Good morning to you and all who have my voice. Thank you very much for inviting me to this event. Yes, we were, I would say, flee the conflict, the war, and I would say, discrimination from Afghanistan. And we were, after the U.S. withdrawal, so our life was under threat. And I have a daughter who is now 17 years old. He stayed home for not, her education was banned, so he was very seriously affected. And she was not able to participate in school for around 3 years. So we came to the United States since November as part of the enduring welcome. And we were working with the United States mission in Afghanistan during the 20 past years mission in Afghanistan. So I came here since November as part of the U.S. RAP program, P1, P2, that was announced by President Biden. And I'm happy to be here in the United States, in the Jacksonville, and very welcomed by the U.S. and American people. Thank you.
And I know that you arrived from to Jacksonville you were initially in Qatar, and then you were at JFK Airport in New York. I imagine there's lots of paperwork and administrative actions that had to be taken. How important was having the folks at Catholic Charities helping you through that process?
Very, very important. As a new immigrant, as a new entrant to the United States from, how to say, a war-torn society. So it was very important. We were very well received and welcomed from the Jacksonville International Airport by the Catholic Charities team. So we have been placed in a temporary hotel first, and then the housing team has supported us to get a house here, and we have been fully settled here. And I think without this support, we were not able to find here our place. It was difficult for us to get some administrative registration process here. And we fully get relieved, particularly at the beginning of our arrivals here.
Right. Anita, can you describe what the work of Catholic Charities Jacksonville is and how it's been impacted by some recent policy changes?
Catholic Charities has many different programs, but one of our largest programs is refugee resettlement that has grown over the time because of the conflicts in Ukraine and in Afghanistan. So we get notification. Department of State notifies United States Conference of Catholic Bishops about arrival of refugees who are already vetted outside of the country by federal government. So when we get notification of the arrival, our team rents apartment, shows up in an airport to pick up the family and take them home. And then in the preceding weeks, we enroll children in a school. We enroll family into healthcare services. They go through orientation to American culture, and we begin working on their employment situation. So those main services for first 90 days pretty much are focused on familiarize them in life in America and build the basis. But in order for refugees not to be on a federal cash assistance, right upon the expiration of 90 days, we enroll them into next program called Match Grant Program, where we prepare refugees and assist them in finding employment and for them to become self-sufficient. And in addition to that, we provide English as a second language. We provide extended case management services. And basically, the beauty of the process is we don't do everything for refugees. We work with the refugees, we support them, but basically we wanted them to learn how to manage life on their own. So pretty much that, and we're always there for them. If they have any type of the issues, if they need any assistance, they can always come back to our agency, and we will always be there for them.
So that's the work that you do. How has the work that you do changed in the last month or so?
Dramatically. First, on January 24th, when President issued executive order on immigration that put complete stop on the new arrivals to United States, which means large number of refugees who were already approved to come to United States are kind of stuck in a limbo. And also, as a result, we have not gotten reimbursement for our services that we already rendered in the month of December and January, and now February. So that led to us having no choice but to letting go about 26 people on our staff because we just had no funds to support them and there were no arrivals. So, but what was the worst, in our opinion, is the impact it had on the current refugees who came prior to January, for whom we had no money to assist with the housing. We had very limited staff to assist them with other components that I just described. We kept skeleton crew because we couldn't just abandon the group. We had 49 families, which is about 500 people who kind of got stuck in the situation. So we start, putting plea out for funds so we could at least do the services that were promised to them. Then another big shock came when on the February 27th, Department of State, which is federal agency that provides funding for the program, completely dismantled cooperative agreement with voluntary agencies, which means it would complete stop to everything that we do. So currently we have, as I mentioned, 45 families. We are visiting with our donors, we are visiting with foundations, and we're trying to raise enough money to support them.
So you say 49 families who are currently here had been receiving this assistance, about 500 people total. And
Yes.
That's because these families are coming, as Abdul's family did. He has 4 children and a wife, so there's 6 of them altogether. And so there's a lot of kids in the mix here.
Absolutely.
What is happening to those children? And what is the concern if funding doesn't resume and these services aren't available any longer?
Well, the concern is, any family that came here in less than 90 days. Those are the families with whom we work the most intensively. If the services don't resume, we will have to completely shut down any component of refugee program. So we will no longer be able to assist because we won't have, funds for overhead operations and to assist them. And that same situation is our other local agency providing services, Lutheran Services. They also have refugees that they cannot serve. And it's been quoted that across United States, that is 6,700 refugees in that situation. So it's a large number of people who will not be assisted.
And so rental assistance, you say, is one of the services that you provide in these initial kind of crucial early months. If the rent is not available, what actually does happen to the families?
They will become homeless. They could, we would direct them to other services because they are documented, so they legally in this country. So we will try to provide assistance as to any other American citizen to grants that are focused on preventing homelessness. But we do have refugees that are very close to just basically become homeless.
Now, people can tell from your accent, perhaps, Anita, that you are yourself an immigrant to this country. You're originally from Poland.
Yes, that's correct.
What can you tell us about your experience as an immigrant to the United States that helps inform the work that you do with Catholic Charities?
Well, it's a huge adjustment. And I have to say, refugees don't come to America because they want to. I'm not saying they don't want to, but it's not chasing American dream. You leave your country because you have no other choice and you miss your country and you hope you will be able one day to come back. And when you come, you work very, very hard to find employment. You are helped with the housing for first 90 days. We were fortunate because we did have a friend in Kentucky who assisted us with this. But the first few weeks where your world is completely upside down, when you don't understand many things. I do remember we were walking on the street and people were smiling and saying hi, and we were like, well, what were they laughing at? I don't know you. So many little situations like this, but it's very challenging process. One thing is there is this huge gratitude that America gave us opportunity to have safe life, huge gratitude that our children will be born and raised in a safe environment. And when I look at our refugees today, when they come in a family, they become very hardworking people and they do everything to provide the best education for their children.
Abdul, I want to ask you about your experience as well coming to the United States and particularly how your children are adapting. How easy or difficult has that adjustment been?
Thank you. They have been enrolled in school since our arrival here, maybe after a few weeks, but they are adapting. Also, they are facing challenges. So, I have three children have been already enrolled in school. Two of them are young, so I work with their English language in Afghanistan, but they're adapting well here. Although my elder daughter has some challenges because she has been enrolled in 11th grade, and the 3 years education gap is still a big challenge for her. I know, but she's trying. We are trying to best support her to continue his education here. And also, my smaller daughter is also she's learning quickly the English language and to adapt in the school and the education culture here. That's good. But again, as Ma'am said from Catholic Charity, still we are feeling now as a father of this 6 family members. I'm feeling a big pressure on my shoulders that now after that much grant is cut it. And it's not my voice; it's also some of my other refugees who have connection with there from Afghanistan. Is that we are now feeling hopelessness and maybe homelessness. So if we cannot provide the rent of our apartments and the basic costs, then how we can survive here? It's difficult. So finding a job is challenging here. And I hope that we get more support from Catholic Charity or from other organizations that we should be well settled here. And then I think that's the most important challenge for refugee families. That finding job is very important here. And I think receiving new immigrants by Catholic Charity and other organizations who are supporting new immigrants. It's very important that I think a kind of skill analysis needs to be required at the beginning. Whom the clients they are receiving, some may have the basic skills here, the English language or others. So I myself have I know English language. I have my master's degree in agriculture. I have worked for more than 16 years in development international organizations, but still it's a challenge to find a job here. So at the beginning, the focus is very important. That how we should be, our skills should be utilized here, and more networking and more support is required in order to reduce dependency on grants on federal funds. So I think new migrants need jobs. That can ease our lives here. Thank you.
Sure, Abdul. And I want to ask you, I know that this country has been increasingly adverse to illegal immigration. Do you find that your status as a legal and vetted immigrant that you're sometimes mixed up with or confused with or seen as an illegal immigrant or treated differently?
I'm applying through different platforms, and even I physically visited some where I think some like Walmart, Winn-Dixie, or other parts that I think I can work. But they are looking at where have the legal documents here where we are illegal immigrants or illegal immigrants. So after the new administration and even how to say the president decree, the community is viewpoint changes against immigrants. Whether they think that all immigrants are somehow they are illegally in the United States, but we are here, have the legal status here. We have come through a special entry visa here. I think that the general point of view in the society also changed against immigrants. It's my understanding, basically.
Yeah. Anita, how do you see that impacting your clients? Have you seen attitudes change? Do you find it's more difficult to explain to people the vetting and approval that these clients of yours have received?
So our clients are very concerned. They understand the situation. They need support. They don't know what's going to happen. But we do a lot of education. I mean, we had interviews with newspapers, with TV, and always the point of focus is to explain to everyone the difference. The refugees escape the prosecution. They are vetted outside of the country. They come with the full documentation. So we do a lot of education. Yeah. And then there always are questions. There are always unpleasant calls and, what are you doing? And the Catholic Charities, there was a campaign launched to discredit Catholic Charities in all United States. So we do lots of repairing of the opinions and explaining. There were suggestions that we help illegal, I hate the word, undocumented immigrants to escape illegally through the border, and then we also help to resettle them all over the United States, which is not true.
I would guess it must be particularly difficult for immigrants and their families like Abdul's who were in fact allies and, worked so closely with the troops in Afghanistan, the U.S. troops in Afghanistan, and who were promised that they would be offered some refuge because their lives were in danger.
Yes, it's very difficult. They all are like this. All of our refugees escape some type of the fear for their lives and prosecution. So it is difficult. They were promised assistance, and now we cannot deliver our promise as we would wish to.
So there is a lawsuit that has been filed in this case by the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, and they're seeking basically the pay that has already been spent, that they're owed, and a lifting of these restrictions.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. And so what stage is that at? And I mean, we all know that the legal system can move at a somewhat glacial pace. So what is the sense that this legal effort could actually, restore funding and restore the flow of these people who are stuck in limbo anytime soon?
So there was a hearing, but in current situation, those are such unprecedented times that we are cautiously positive, but with determination of the contract between Department of State and voluntary agencies, the chances look pretty slim at this time.
And so you are working to raise funds locally.
Yes,
You're looking for
we do.
How are you doing? How are you going about that?
We visit we have meetings with our donors, with foundations, explain the situation, and ask if they would be willing assist us with paying for the services provided to refugees. So we're really not asking for overhead funding. We just want to be able to finish the services that were promised to our refugees, and then mostly looking for the grants and donations.
And just briefly, is there an opportunity for people, for instance, if they're listening and they wanted to help either offer employment or housing of some kind, what would they do to reach out?
call us at 904-899-5500, and we can immediately connect you with whichever assistant would you like or willing to provide.
Well, Anita Hassell with Catholic Charities Jacksonville, Abdul Mohammadi, thank you so much for being here today. Good luck to you both.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thanks for having us to your program, and have a good day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.